Do you want to start a business but not have the money to do so? Well, is this even possible? Can you do it? Well, we're going to talk about in this training how you can actually start and run a business with very little capital. And I'm going to tell you how to get the capital you need to get a startup off the ground. I'm going to show you how to get money even if you don't have any kind of collateral. I'm going to show you how to get money to fund a startup even if you have severe credit issues. And I'm going to talk about how you can actually get startup capital without verifying any cash flow. So even if you're just getting your business off the ground, we're going to talk about ways that will work. We're going to talk about the ways to pinch a penny and be able to get a business off the ground without spending a lot. And we're going to talk about where business owners go wrong here by actually not estimating correctly the money they're going to need or the time it's going to take for the business to start generating revenue. This is your success formula to get a startup off the ground and get the money you need to do so. We got a lot to cover, so let's dive in. So can you really start a business with no money? Well, kind of. Look, the reality is to run any kind of business is going to require some kind of capital. And most business owners are using their own personal savings, their own credit cards, or 75% rely on family and friends to get that money they need. So first thing, you've got to anticipate there's going to be some kind of cost to actually get your business off the ground. Now, you should sit down and detail out all the costs that you think will be there. Everything you need to get your business off the ground. What is your estimate of what it will cost? And I've learned a very important rule in business. Double that. Whatever you think something's going to cost you, double it, and you'll more than likely be closer to what it will actually cost. The second thing is you want to estimate how long it's going to take for you to start making money. How are you going to start making money? Develop your business plan and figure out how long will it take for you to start generating revenue to start paying for those costs. And again, my rule of thumb is double the time you think it will take. If you think it will take you 6 months to make your first dollar, estimate it will take a year, and that estimate will put you closer to how long it really takes. So now that you know that it's going to cost some money to get the business off the ground, you got an idea of those costs, and you have a business plan and an idea of timeline, now you have what's needed to actually get access to the capital you need. So how do you get access to the capital you need to be able to get the business off the ground? Well, let's talk about your options. There's three main ways you can get money for a business: based on your cash flow, based on your collateral, or based on credit. So if you're just getting a business off the ground, you don't have cash flow yet, which means a lot of types of financing that can work for you when you do have cash flow aren't yet available. Now, let's not rule these out. Things like PayPal, Square, and Stripe, they all have financing. It's really easy to get. You can get it regardless of personal credit. You can get $10,000 or upwards of $500,000 from those sources if you're processing customers' payments through there. So make sure that you have a business bank account set up. Make sure that you're processing credit card payments so you have a merchant account set up. Start running that money through your business bank account, and consider Square, PayPal, and Stripe great places that make it easy for you to accept customers' payments that also open up phenomenal funding options. If you've done this, then you might not be generating revenue now, but 6 months to 12 months down the road when you are, those options become available. Even if you have credit issues, even if you don't have collateral, even if you don't have credit, you can use the consistency of your cash flow to start getting financing. Now, the second way you can actually get money for a business is through collateral. This is called asset-based lending, and it works really well for brand new startup businesses if you have an asset that can actually be served up as collateral to get financing. Now, what's nice about this is you don't need to have good credit. You can get this kind of financing even as a brand new business, and you get really low interest rates. A lot of this kind of financing has 2, 3, 4, even 5% interest rates, regardless of personal credit. So that keeps your payments low as you're getting your business off the ground. A lot of assets can serve as collateral: 401ks, stocks, IRAs, bonds, equipment, inventory, commercial vehicles, real estate. All those kind of things can be served up as assets and be used as collateral to get financing. Now, maybe you don't have any of those. Well, then let's think about family and friends. Instead of relying on them to give you cash to get your business off the ground, maybe they have stocks, bonds, 401ks, IRAs, inventory, equipment. You could borrow against theirs. You could use their asset, borrow against that, and then use that to get your business off the ground. Now, why would they do that? Well, think about it for a second. If I'm going to go to my dad and ask him for 25 grand to get my business off the ground, then keep in mind, 75% of business owners get money from family and friends to launch their business. But if I go to my dad to get 25 grand, he's got to sell his stocks. He's got to pay penalties on that. He's got to not earn interest on those stocks. But if he were to leverage his stocks to get me a 5% credit line, he could still keep the stocks there, not pay any penalties, and still earn interest on those stocks. So just an example of how you could tap into somebody else's assets and use it as collateral. And hey, in this example, maybe I want to give my dad ownership interest in the business. Maybe I want to get him an interest rate so he gets a rate of return. It doesn't have to be a handout. You can actually go to family members, friends, even potential investors, rely on their assets to actually help you get money to fund your business. And the nice thing is that they don't have to come out of pocket with the money, and they can even earn interest or get some kind of rate of return where it makes sense for them. So think about any kind of assets you or somebody else has that can be served up as collateral. Now, another kind of financing is based on credit. And there's two ways you can get this. First of all, if you have good consumer credit, or you know somebody else that does that you can use as a guarantor, then that means you can get a program like Credit Line Hybrid. Credit Line Hybrid is the best funding program I've ever seen for startups. You can get $150,000 in credit lines, 0% rates, and a lot of these report to the business credit reporting agencies. So not only are you getting up to $150,000 in credit lines, but you're building business credit at exactly the same time. So this opens up another funding option for you down the road as you start to establish more business credit. Now, business credit is the other kind of credit you can use, because even a startup can start getting business credit cards and use those business credit cards to fund the business. And here's the best part. If you do this the right way, the business can fund itself where you don't even need to rely on personal guarantees or credit checks to do it. Now, I'm not going to give you a whole detailed rundown of how to do this. As a matter of fact, we have tons of training on how to build your business credit on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/credit suite. But to give you a brief summary, you can get started with starter vendors. These places sell all kinds of stuff, marketing assets. They sell supplies, office supplies, outdoor supplies, stuff that you really need to grow the business. They'll give you credit right away. They report to the business credit reporting agencies on terms like net 30 or net 60, where they give you 30 or 60 days to pay back what's owed. Once those start to report to the business credit reporting agencies, you can get credit with almost every major retailer. Amazon and Walmart, Sam's Club and Costco, Staples, Office Depot, Home Depot, Lowe's, even Macy's and Nordstrom offer business credit without a personal guarantee and credit check. And let's be realistic. You know, if you use this kind of retail credit, there's not a lot of stuff you can't buy at places like Walmart or Amazon. So this kind of retail credit will give you 85% of what you actually need to grow the business. So you could rely on business credit alone to help you fund the business. But after you get that retail credit, you can start to get fleet credit cards for fuel, repair, maintenance of vehicles. You can get auto financing. You can even get computer leases at places like Apple, HP, and Dell. So almost all of what you need to fund in a business, you could use business credit to do. So there's a lot of different ways you can actually get the money you need. And let's not forget grants as well. You can go to GrantWatch for local grants or grants.gov for government grants, and that's free money that you can actually access to grow the business. So again, all of these options I've walked through will give you the money you need to get your startup business off the ground. And don't forget, as you're getting a business off the ground, to pinch a penny. Make a dollar go as long as it can. Look, there's always one thing that's more important to you in a business, time or money. And in the beginning, it's always going to be the money. You don't have a lot of money. All you have is time. So that means you might have to do a lot of things the hard way because you don't have the money to pay people to be able to do those things for you. So shoulder as much as you can. Take on as much as you can to keep your costs low and watch your cost. Software companies you can negotiate with to get lower cost on software. Make sure you look at virtual assistants in places like the Philippines to help you get the initial work done. Sometimes you might not be able to afford a $15, $20 an hour person in the United States. Every single thing before you take on a debt or an expense, think about the best way to negotiate or get that at the lowest, most affordable cost. And if you're doing that, then you're pinching a penny, and you also need to make sure that you're keeping an eye on your profit margin. Look, a lot of people run a business and talk about the success based on the gross revenue they're generating. Gross revenue doesn't matter. How much you keep in profit does matter. So you need to very early on in the business, make sure you establish a profit margin that you want to keep. Maybe you want it to be a 20% margin, which means 20% of whatever the revenue you actually generate, you keep in profit. Whatever that is, try to set your profit margin and stick to that. Make sure you manage your expenses to only be that percentage, so you make sure you have that amount left in profit. That will give you a cushion that you're actually going to need to make sure the business is successful. And don't forget, revolving credit is king. When you're growing a business, having credit lines, having credit cards you can rely on when you need them is very important. You don't have to be payments on them if you don't have a balance owed, but when you do have a balance owed, you can pay it off and reuse that revolving credit. Credit cards are way easier to get than credit lines, so consider the credit line hybrid or business credit programs to give you access to those. And as the business grows and generates revenue, that'll open up credit lines for you as well. So can you really start a business with no money? It's pretty tough to do, but you can do it by watching expenses and keep the amount of money you need at a bare minimum. And we talked about a lot of really cool creative ways that you can actually tap into to get the money you need to be able to get your business off the ground and to be able to make it successful. To talk about the funding you can get right now, give us a call for a free consultation. We'll tell you all the funding that you're able to get and qualify for in this moment, talk about what you need to do to qualify for even more money. We'll do a fundability assessment to help you structure and set up your business the right way to be able to qualify for maximum funding, and we'll help you get your business credit reports with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, Experian, review those with you and give you tips and tactics to build your business credit from scratch. It all happens on a free consultation. Give us a call, 877-600-2487. That's 877-600-2487. You can also email us, info@creditsuite.com, or you can schedule your consultation online at creditsuite.com/consult. Did you get some value from this? If so, make sure you like and subscribe and keep your eye out for our next training where we talk about more cool ways to get money to start and grow your business.